so this is the Helldivers 2 official Discord. Let me just type in Grums. This contact is blocked by the server. Isn't that wild?
All right, let's dig into this Helldivers thing. There's a lot here, and we're gonna go bit by bit through this as we go. I'll tell you what, Flash. How about you just give everybody like a quick 30 seconds on the origins of this? How did this whole thing start on Friday?
Oh, so. Yeah, Sony just all of a sudden says, all right, well, we're going to reinstate the account linking. And that kicked off a shitstorm that they tried to just ignore, and then they couldn't ignore it anymore when what did they have? 200,000 downvotes on their Steam page? Was it 200,000 bad reviews?
It was enough to change it from overwhelmingly positive to mixed in under a day, and then I think it eventually went to overwhelmingly negative.
Yes, they.
Or wait, no, not the overall. The recent reviews were overwhelmingly negative, and the overall went to mixed.
Yeah, that's twice what the daily player count is for Steam. So
people turned around, man.
Yeah.
People turned around and they were very loud about this. So the CEO of Arrowhead and the Helldivers 2 creative director came out, and this was just a quick recap on Fridays. Posted this, says, in regards to account linking and questions here too, please refer to this, which was a support link for the PlayStation support. And I think a lot of people kind of read through this as like, well, this sure doesn't sound like something that Arrowhead really wanted to do. You know, they're like, well, if you got any complaints, you can talk to Sony about it. And that's kind of where they pushed people to. And over the weekend, there were actually a lot of questions about this. And this goes back to, this is continuing the conversation from the CEO. It says, on a serious note, we're talking solutions with PlayStation. This is based off of the extreme blowback that they received, especially for non-PlayStation Network countries. Your voice has been heard, but I'm doing everything I can to speak for the community, but I don't have the final say. And that's the big thing here. It says, this guy says, why are you acting blameless? Right. And he says, I do have a part to play. I'm not blameless in all of this. It was my decision to disable account linking at launch so that players could play the game. I did not ensure players were aware of the requirement and didn't talk about it enough. We knew about it for 6 months before launch that it would be mandatory for online PlayStation titles. So that was one of the big questions was how long did you know about this? And he's saying we've known about it for a long ass time. And then there was like a little bit of gaslighting associated with this, and you've seen this quite a bit online, where there was this happened before and this happened after the announcement. And here was them trying to cover their tracks right here. This is what it said before. It says, do I have to sign in to the PlayStation Network to play a PlayStation game on PC? Signing into PSN is optional when playing a PlayStation game on PC. And then after this was announced, they changed it to some PlayStation games may require you to sign in and link to an account on PlayStation. So, I mean, it's like the epitome of gaslighting. They're like, "What? We don't know what you're talking about. I don't even understand." And the blowback was continued over the weekend, and then we saw the community managers get involved, which I think that's probably one of the biggest aspects of this, which probably is still ongoing. I think it's an ongoing conversation within this, the community managers and how community managers have handled the situation as representatives of Helldivers and Arrowhead. And we have Spitz, the community manager. I don't know who these people are, but they represent the game. So here we are. It says, I was completely unaware of how many countries didn't have the ability to make a PlayStation Network account when I made that statement. I deeply regret implying that it was so easy for everyone just to sign up. Because once again, I missed this here on the recap, but They were just like, just spend 2 minutes to do it. I don't understand what the issue is. I don't want this. Just spend 2 minutes. Well, there's 179 countries that people had the opportunity to own the game on Steam, and now they can't play the game on Steam because they don't have a PlayStation Network isn't an option.
There's also like a step further to that. So everybody in this, who made the game knows that this was going to happen, that you need to have a PlayStation Network account eventually. So why were they selling this video game in countries that don't have a PlayStation Network? It's a scam. It's theft, because you're like saying, hey, play this game. Oh, wait, never mind. About like 2 months or so, we're going to change it so you can't play this game ever again, but you bought it. That's a huge question. People are like, oh, big win. Yes, but no.
Well, that pushed a lot of people to vote with their wallets, which I think is very important. And a lot of people tried to refund the game on Steam, and led to things like this, where this person was actually refunded the game after 97 hours of gameplay. Now, I tried to refund the game. I tried to get a refund of the game 2 times, and it was denied both times because it was pretty much automatic, because I played more than 2 hours. So that to me was interesting.
Did you try recently?
Yes, I tried over the weekend. I tried twice on Saturday, I believe. And I have not received it says, I'm looking at the email right now. It says, will not be granted a refund at this time. The date of the purchase exceeds 2 weeks. So that was the big thing with that, was I was unable to get a refund because, and I mean, just based off of math, this guy on the example that we're sharing, he bought his February 26th, so it's been well over two weeks. So, as Thomas says, you have to get a person to get a refund, right? And I did not. I don't know how to get a person.
Yeah, how do you get? I did get a refund once from the Battlefront collection, but then I had never played it or anything, and it was like within 72 hours, but I never played it.
You can play a game for up to 2 hours on Steam. So that's why I always say when new release games, everyone a good practice on Steam, set a 90-minute timer, and when that dings, decide if you actually like the game or if it runs well enough on your machine. Then, because that way you won't find that it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes and then you can't refund, right?
Right.
So Chicago Box in the chat says they reversed the decision. So what's the problem to refund now? Well, the thing is, as of before, they didn't actually reverse the decisions. It still says on Steam requires a third-party account, PlayStation Network.
That dude's avatar picture. Oh shit.
What was it? What was his name? I don't even know. Chicago Box.
Funny.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice.
Well,
that's funny.
The pushback was real, and
I don't know.
The Chicago Box right there.
Yeah.
But the pushback on this was really kind of crazy. Let's go to our Destin over at IGN, who's known Destin for a long time. He had the screenshot over here talking about the reviews of the review history, which was the biggest pushback on all this. The Helldivers 2 reviews on Steam are brutal, and you can see it's very positive along the way. And once again, this is a lot of reviews, by the way. Like these amounts over here, when you look at this, these blue marks represent thousands of reviews. And then this happens, and then it's just absolutely decimated over the course of a few days. With what's that, over 100? It's got to be close to 150,000 negative reviews of the game, and an inkling of blue for positive right there. So,
sorry to interrupt, but since we've been talking, it went from mostly negative recent reviews to now saying it's mixed on Steam since we started an hour and a half ago.
Right. And I think you're going to see the opposite of that here, which we're going to get to how we got to the opposite of this in just a second. But and this, we're going to go back to the CEO says, ouch, right in the review score. Well, I guess it's warranted. And I think it's important to take a step back to when this game launched. This game was praised heavily because if you recall, when it launched, their servers couldn't handle the amount of players. And the CEO was like, yo, don't buy our game. We can't handle this shit. And I think that's what people really appreciated was the transparency aspect of it. I'm sorry,
it was all a farce.
Well, I mean, was it?
One thing wasn't, but like overall, how everything has gone down in the last few days, how he's openly lied, how the CMs have been like shitting all over people. I kind of think it is a farce.
Well, I think community managers, I think there's a lot of people probably doing that job that aren't really prepared for it, because it's your job to respond to all the people that are complaining, and some people just don't have the constitution to do that and stay calm. So I don't know. I don't know if you should blame all of Arrowhead on some community managers losing their shit. But I think,
but like the CEO knew what was supposed to happen. He wasn't transparent enough from the start. He even admitted it, saying we weren't transparent about the PlayStation networks.
Well,
so to go and say, was he? Yes, he's even agreeing with us.
No. He's saying that we weren't transparent enough, being Arrowhead, and I'm 100% certain that Sony's probably not crazy about him saying any of this. Because he really has thrown Sony under the bus and been like, yeah, go request a refund, negatively downvote our game on Steam because we're trying, but also like what can we do, because like we're in this contract with Sony and that's what's happening. I think honestly, like their only other move would be to just pull out of the contract with Sony and then just take a year and develop heck plungers or something and just publish that independently and probably bring the whole audience over. Because I mean, I really don't think that anyone on Arrowhead was like, you know what we really need to make this game fly? PlayStation Network integration on Steam. Right. Like I feel like that wasn't them. Like that's a Sony call.
I mean, but they knew about it from the very beginning. They sold their souls. They agreed with Sony right off the bat.
Hold on, Blabs. Savvy, who's been on the show several times, went in, and Savvy is excellent at asking questions. She's a wonderful question asker, and she's very civil. She asks very common sense questions that people want to know. And so the CEO came out and put this tweet out, said, "It deeply saddens me that Helldivers, the original, is being review bombed due to the recent Helldivers 2 controversy." Now, she responded with some great questions here. It says, there's something I don't understand, would appreciate clarification on if possible. You said you knew about the PlayStation Network requirement 6 months before launch. Was that not a discussion at the time of signing the contract? Why did it change? Are they able to make changes like that on the fly with anyone? Would you have said no if possible? I'm assuming your contracts with them were signed years prior to launch. Now, he responded here, and this was very, very illuminating. It says, thank you for your civil questions. We signed Helldivers 2 8 years ago. 8 years ago. It doesn't specifically details such as account linking. There was always requirements from publishers during development. This was one of them. We did discuss it, and it was deemed as important for PlayStation to have it for an online title, and it was implemented a couple months before release. When servers exploded at launch, quick decisions had to be made, such as turning off linking and galactic war stats are being able to take the load off servers. We couldn't enable it again because of the risk to explode the servers again, and remember the negative feedback around that. And now, finally, the requirement to re-enable came from PlayStation to help with moderation. Bleh. And we had to comply, even though there were concerns there would be backlash. There was backlash, and now we're talking about it again.
Yeah, I mean, this guy seems pretty cool to me. Like, I don't know if I'm just being too easy on him, but
yeah, I love how the reason they wanted is for moderation. Sony, do you see a thing now where you can record people you're talking to with your PlayStation, so you can report them easier?
There was a thing that came out recently saying they were going to add biometric sensing to the controllers so that they can tell when you're being harassed and launch a complaint for you so that you wouldn't have to deal with the stress of filing a complaint.
That's right. Okay, so that leads us to right here, which happened late last night. This is all taking place over the course of about 48 hours, maybe a little more, maybe 50 hours or so, where they announced this is happening on Friday. It's almost like a news dump where it's like, hey, this is happening, but just forget about it. And guess what? The internet did not forget about it, and they heard about it all weekend. So PlayStation came out with this, and Blabs, I'm going to let you go to read off this tweet.
Okay. All right, so this comes from PlayStation. Helldivers fans, we've heard your feedback on the Helldivers 2 account linking update, the May 6th update, which would have required Steam and PlayStation Network account linking for new players and for current players beginning May 30th. Will not be moving forward. We're still learning what is best for PC players, and your feedback has been invaluable. Thanks again for your continued support of Helldivers 2, and we'll keep you updated on future plans. Maybe just leave PC players the fuck alone. I don't know. Based, I guess.
So it's funny because even in our chat, you can kind of see the divisive nature of this, where some people are like, hey, fuck off, Arrowhead. For you guys knew about this. You guys knew this was happening and you didn't tell anybody, right? You didn't communicate with us. Mm-hmm. And some people are like, hey, we get it. We totally understand, right? This to me felt like having seen these type of situations before countless times, where Sony holds a gun to the head of Arrowhead, and they're like, look, you're gonna fucking do this. And Arrowhead goes, okay, all right, people are gonna hate it. As he said, they expected blowback. They saw the blowback, right? They didn't realize how much the blowback was gonna be. They can deal with a little bit of meh, but when it's like just absolute chaos, that's when it was like, holy shit,
I haven't seen anything like that in a long time. That was wild.
Well, it's because it was such a well-loved game. Everybody was united for it, saying this is a great AA game. Because remember, it's not a triple A game.
Well-loved to hated overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well,
and this is. Can you think of a Sony multiplayer game that's really taken off like that game has?
Well, I mean, there's another at least good one. I don't know how much about it being something that really took off, but it's coming out on Steam in a few days, a couple weeks. Ghost of Tsushima. It has a really good multiplayer.
That's a single player game.
No, it has a multiplayer.
I get it
mode,
has it, but that's not what anybody thinks about when they think about Ghost of Tsushima.
Right.
They're not.
No,
thinking
but
about
I mean, like, if you're
multiplayer.
saying have they made any good like Ghost of Tsushima's multiplayer is really good. There's a raid in it that's actually like quite in depth and challenging. Like, I do recommend checking it out, but at the same time, I guarantee you're going to have a PlayStation Network account linked to play Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, that's already been confirmed.
Yeah,
you're going to have it
but
if you
at
want to
least
play
it
the
was
online.
transparent. They were saying, hey.
But I mean something like a Halo was for Xbox. I don't think they've ever had that.
No, closest would probably be something like Killzone or Resistance, but neither of them really lit up the world. I mean, yeah, I actually can't think of another one. Last of Us multiplayer was kind of big, I guess, for a little while, but I think they really kind of they took the wind out of those sails the second they launched Last of Us 2 without any multiplayer, and then spent some time working on their factions update that just got canceled. So it's definitely not Last of Us.
So we saw so after that, the uptick has been real of reviews. And Blab, see if you can find a better. This is from a few hours from middle of night last night. Once again, going back to Destin, he said literally 3 hours after PlayStation reverted the PSN linking on Steam, positive reviews are back for Helldivers 2, which I'm sure this looks like the opposite side of this here, where huge downvote. It's like a
yeah, but I wonder if they hid some of those, and they've done that before, where they were hiding bad reviews over on Steam.
On Steam,
yeah,
right.
I mean, I can.
So I wonder if they were
started
hiding reviews for that. In the chat, corrected me. There was SOCOM.
Right.
Remember SOCOM?
I don't think SOCOM was ever a massive multiplayer game.
Well, I can give you the
it was
chart
pretty
now.
popular on PS2.
Well, it was, hardly anyone had PlayStation 2 online.
Well, it's been killed. Well, there was a modem that they sold for a minute.
Yeah, but how many people do you know who had one?
Yeah,
and
not
actively
that
used
many.
It? Like, that's the question I'm asking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Xbox Live took off at least a little because of Halo 2, but
Halo 2
PlayStation
really...
2 multiplayer was Like it was an idea.
Nothing near
a working thing.
Nothing near that level.
Well, you can see the uptick in reviews. I mean, it's a massive uptick, way more uptick in reviews than there ever was before. Combined 41,000 positive reviews. Ooh, that's what's the? Will you scroll over to the negative reviews on the lowest mark over there? There you go. Yeah, I want to see what that was.
Wow,
90,000.
That was yesterday.
I mean,
damn.
To say that people were pissed is an understatement, right? And going back to the CEO and his thoughts on all this, he says, firstly, I'm impressed by the willpower of the Helldivers 2 community and your ability to collaborate. Secondly, I want to thank our partners and friends at PlayStation for quickly and effectively making the decision to leave PlayStation Network linking optional. We together want to set a new standard for what a live game is and how developers and community can support each other to create the best game experiences. And people, once again, have primarily praised him. 55,000 likes when it comes to this. It's such an interesting conversation with all this. And you see people like Cabrutus, he said, he was saying that this is he's talking about, the Helldivers 2 official page even deleted their original post talking about the PSN link account requirements. I'll call this a huge complete giga win, which is great. I think this is, the idea of listening to your audience is paramount in today's world. I think this is a much bigger step for consumers as a whole. You're talking about a company with Sony that is deep into the DEI aspect of it, money being brought in from all sorts of different shady places. And for it to take a little more than 2 hours or 2 days to reverse a decision based off of the swift and hard blowback, I think that says a lot. I really do. Am I wrong on that? Or do you think this is a jumping off?
It's definitely like more the consumers getting together and saying, hey, this is what we really want. And, companies actually listening for a change. But I don't really know if it's a huge win because now we know their clear motivations at the very start was to sell a game that would not be playable in certain countries. There's no way of going around that. That is 100% what happened. And that was their intention from the start. They said it.
Okay. Well,
I think... Go ahead,
Mark.
I think that could be just more attributed to incompetence more than anything else. I'm willing to bet the people who were pulling the PlayStation Network needs to be linked decision weren't actually thinking that hard about it. They were just like, no, we got to get people into the PlayStation ecosystem. Lots of games on Steam make you log into Uconnect for Ubisoft or Club Rockstar for Rockstar. And no one's going to care. It's going to be totally fine. They'll eat it up because they like this game. And they got taught a valuable lesson about when you have a outlet like Steam reviews, which is on PlayStation, there is not a user review system. You can hear that backlash pretty loud and clear quickly.
Yeah, but so like, what was their intention though, right? Because it still happened, and if they do this again,
who is the there you're referring to?
Okay, Sony, Arrowhead, whoever wants to make the decision again. If this ever happens again.
Arrowhead seems like I'm willing to bet their bet is they've always just been trying to make a good game and make a lot of money with it, which they've been doing very, very well for the last couple months. Like this was absolutely Sony being like, hey, we got a good thing going here. Let's fuck it up a little, shall we? And then saying, okay, now that PlayStation Network linking needs to happen. So all these people, these 400,000 players that we had in the first couple weeks of Helldivers, a lot of them have Steam accounts. Let's make it so that now they have to make a PlayStation account. Which means anytime there's a PlayStation 5 game that comes out, they might consider, at least they'll be thinking, well, I already got my account set up. That's the reason they did it. I don't think it helps Arrowhead at all. Absolutely not at all.
This is somebody in the chat. Sorry, Craig. Somebody said incompetence, but also wouldn't rule out malice and greed, and I agree with that too.
Okay, so here's I agree with Mark on this, right? There are a lot of people, they were not thinking about Chad, the country, when they were making this decision. They were not. They're thinking about the United States, Europe. They're not thinking about the 179 countries in South America or South Africa or Africa or wherever that that are not going to be playing it. I'm sorry, they're not. And I think Mark is right. I think this is incompetence, and this is like, never underestimate someone in management's ability to fuck something up, because at the most of the time, these people in management, they're just fucking losers, and they made the right decision. They caught someone's eye. They don't have experience doing it. Like, they're trying to figure it out just like everybody else. Congratulations. Like, that's the reality of it. So I think, Mark, you're right. I think this is incompetence, and people's inability to really think through the entire process. And I would say, if I was to put a percentage on it, 90% incompetence, 10% malice, right? Specifically when it comes to the countries themselves that don't have PlayStation Network, because I think that, and the reason I give it that is it probably reflects the player base. 90% of the audience, 90% of it is probably reflected in the global audience that can play it. 10% of it, that comes from those countries that may not have the largest player base. And I think that's the reality of it. I think that, and not to be too dramatic, but I think Razor really hit it on the head here. Like, I think he nails it. He says, acknowledge victories when you can achieve them. All you had to do was organize a little. And the result, you boofed a Fortune 500 company with pockets brimming with bridge/ESG payola. Take the white pill and take a bow, right? He's right.
Yeah.
All it took was just a little bit of organization, a little bit of pushback. This is not like, yes, the blowback was swift and just and quick, but do you see how fast this happened? 2 days.
I really thought they were going to die on the hill, Craig.
Me too. I did too.
Yeah.
I thought but it's amazing to see what happened there. So a lot of people are proclaiming this a big win. Blabs, you still have your hesitations, obviously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it still says it on Steam requires a network, and how many hours has it been since they made that announcement? You'd think they'd be organized again.
Blabs, it was the weekend. I mean, we just now are in the first business day.
Yeah, but how hard is it to just remove that on Steam? I don't know the whole logistics of it.
We don't know.
I've never published a game on Steam, so I'm not 100% sure how easy it is.
I'm sure it's all going to come back down, because they don't want this again.
No, I hope not. At least
they don't want this again.
I think the only compromise that they could make, which they might implement, is requiring PSN login for crossplay. I could see that happening. But ultimately, I think most PC players that really don't want to make a PlayStation account probably don't care.
And JMac just came in with a $50.
Yeah,
JMac fucking killing it. And there's a lot of accuracy into this. I don't ever give a company the benefit of the doubt. At the end of the day, incompetence and malice have the same results. I 100% agree with you. Side note, an incompetent business isn't really something to celebrate. Just stay vigilant and always vote with your dollar.
Yeah,
J-Mac,
that's true also.
Thank you very much. That is incredibly generous of you. And you're 100% right, but I'll say this. The counter to that, as far as the results go, incompetence and malice have been having the same results, yes. But the perception based off of incompetence is different than the perception based off of malice, right? If you fuck up and you go, look, I fucked up. I'm sorry, I fucked up. Instead of, I fucked you. There's a big difference between the two, right?
And you're going to take it.
Right. And I think that's what Arrowhead has done here, or at least the CEO has done, is said, like, look, we fucked up. We're sorry. Instead of, we fucked you.
And tried to get away with it, but you didn't let us get away with it, so please forgive us. Like that is a bit of a different context.
I mean, I still think Sony is a huge malice company, because at the end of the day, what was all this for? Control. It's all about controlling you and banning if you're mean or whatever. So, like, fuck Sony, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, you're not gonna get me defending Sony a whole lot. I think that they make a lot of terrible decisions. I think one of the best decisions they've made in a while was launching Helldivers 2 on day one on PC, and lo and behold, that's the one that made them a ton of money.
Right. Well, as good as a lot of people are feeling about this whole thing. There has still been this underlying, I don't know, underbelly, if you will, of the community managers at Arrowhead. And
she was salivating at the idea of banning Grums and his friends.
All right. Well, let's get to
speaking
that.
Of that.
Yeah. So, Blabs, I'm going to have you read this off while I put JMac on the wall here. This is from Grums over here.
All right. So, Helldivers moderator Purple Squidgen falsely proclaims that I have sexually assaulted many people.
What the hell?
Falsely claims that I sent people to attack their CMs and their families. Currently banning anyone who defends me or even likes a comment that defends me from the slander. At Helldivers and in the CEO of Helldivers, this is not okay, and your community team is out of control and lying. Also, I am not far right. I'm actually left of center, but these radicals have pushed all sanity into a bucket and kicked it off a cliff.
And if you scroll down, you can kind of see what they said about and they. Can I get some PIB pronoun avatars in the chat?
Let's get some PIB emotes.
There you go.
If you got them.
So Purple Squidgen over here says, someone who SA'd many people he worked with lost his position as CEO. Now is a far-right influencer who had people attack more than one of our CMs and their families, right? And they followed up with, says, anyone here who is a Grums fan, please out yourself so I can help you out the door.
Wow.
Which is...
I'm not defending that guy. That's kind of an inappropriate way to treat a community. Like even to just say, hey, if you guys agree with this person at all, we're kicking you out. That's silly.
Is it a requirement to be a piece of shit to be a community manager? Because at this point, it kind of seems like it.
I'll say this. In the last month, 6 weeks or so, the spotlight has been so heavy on community managers in the video game space that, once again, this is not as big as this industry sounds like it is not a big industry. Everybody knows each other, right? Everyone's connected in some way, shape, or form. So with the spotlight being so bright on community managers right now, you would think they learn to just shut the fuck up and do the best job they can do. But they all want to get on their horse and virtue signal and look at how great I am. And that's what they see here. And then people are talking about, well, Grum should sue for slander. Like, this is a community manager, or they maybe should lawyer up. And this was interesting. The response here to it was, please do not slander strangers in public. Not only is it unprofessional, it's wrong. That's just like, this person's like, hey, just stop. Slander implies it was a lie, was the response. Like, holy shit.
Post any evidence, or you just
right? You just kind of
slandering.
Yeah, can we see those receipts, or?
I did also welcome Grums to the far right club. It's a wonderful club to join. You regardless of if you're left, right, or center.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations, everybody. Welcome on in, Grums. But it continues, man. As this tweet has been deleted, but Grums hasn't. It says, mention my name is banned from the Helldivers Discord. They're blaming me for their own PR mess. Hey, I wasn't the one who required PlayStation Network accounts. You can blame me all you want, but this one is on you. And Blabs actually has direct, Blabs just tried to put Grums' name in there in the Discord, and it got blocked.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Instantly blocked. I could do it right now for you guys. I'll share it and we can go in live and watch.
Let's do it live.
We're doing it live. All right.
Do it.
Yes. All right.
Here
I
we
got
are.
it. You want to pull it up? Okay. So this is the Helldivers 2 official Discord. Let me just type in Grums. This contact is blocked by the server. Isn't that wild?
Put a space before the Z.
Oh, okay. Grum. Oh, I'm in red. What does red mean?
I got Blabs banned.
What does red mean?
They're gonna kick you.
Am I in trouble? What is
See how
red?
long it takes you to get kicked.
Let's just see what's going on here. I don't know. There's a whole bunch. This thing's flying.
Just post something to the effect of like, "Hey, I was just seeing if I can say if I can show some support to Grums."
I was gonna try the F slur next.
And if the far right community is welcome.
Yeah.
Okay, it won't even let me. I'm on a 4-minute cooldown, guys. I can't do anything.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, so that's lame.
Wait.
I got no defense for that at all.
The other day was in a 2-minute cooldown.
You got a cooldown for writing Grums's name, or do you?
No. The other day I got it's on slow mode. I think they enabled slow mode like since the other day. But when I commented on Friday, I was writing down, "Let me speak to the people, Piccolo," and they gave me a 2-minute countdown.
Okay. All right. There has been some pushback. Obviously, here's Epic Mike over here in response to this person. Says this person over on X says, if you're crying if you are crybaby that's in need of a Steam refund, they are refunding. Please get your refund. Also, thanks again for making Sony reconsider PC releases in the future. This is Sony stands out here reeling after their company bent the knee. If they reconsider PC releases after how much money they made on those releases, they are stupid as fuck. And Epic Mike.
People get mad at the PC gamer, but I gotta tell you, like, console fanboys are some of the worst.
Well, because in general, console
say anything
fanboys,
negative about Xbox, people go rabid on you. Anything negative about Sony, people go rabid on you.
There are definitely people who like play on console that are reasonable people who don't get that crazy about it, but there's a hell of a lot of console players who are very okay with the company making decisions that screw them over. And with PlayStation in particular, it was deciding to charge for online play after having it be free for years. Like that was the thing that I couldn't believe how many people I saw being like, yeah, well, they're going to make it better now, so it's going to be worth it. I'm like, you guys are thanking them for charging you money. What are you doing?
Yeah.
So if you recall the one community manager, Catherine Baskins, over here, after Sony came out and made their announcement, she said, "Can people stop telling me to own myself right now? Thanks, YouTube, for making me censor myself there." And this is from Hypnotic. It says, "You openly attacked gamers. Literally, you celebrated gamers being angry because you were excited you would be able to ban people easier that you personally don't like. You are an ideology-driven psychopath tourist in the gaming scene. Whilst it's not okay for people to wish death on you, I would almost guarantee in the privacy of your community manager Discord, you probably wish death on a few gamers given your track record. Take the L."
Oh my.
It's definitely
At home.
Let's go. Oh my God. Well, that's kind of where we're at now, is this community manager side of things, where people are very passionate of, like, as Torgo says, if Arrowhead CEO doesn't purge these community managers, then we should not attribute that to malice. We should attribute it to malice and not incompetence. Mm-hmm. I agree. I think that's the first step here, is when you see the way that, really what it comes down to is the vast majority, and I'm not going to put a percentage of it, but the vast majority of these community managers are very fragile, insecure people. So the second they get an ounce of power, it goes way over their head, and they puff out their chest. Look, I got a little bit of power. Look at me. I'm a moderator.
You want to see the true character of a person, give them a little power.
They seem to be like have an agenda too. Not all of them, because there's some of them who just do their job and maybe they think certain ways, but they don't put that in their job. And then some of them are just like, agenda, political activism needs to be in my job. It's like, but why?
I think Twitch Deer Person was a perfect encapsulation of that. Remember that clip where they were like, oh yeah, now just so you know, I have power and there should be a lot of people on Twitch who should be very afraid of me. It's like, you don't say that on the internet.
They're all ideologues. Like, I saw somebody was going after Craig. I should have saved the tweet. They were going after Craig, and the dude searched Craig's handle with Gaza. He doesn't talk about Gaza. Every time.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Blaz, welcome to my life.
Silence is violence.
He wasn't
Blabs.
talking. He's not talking about the conflict in the Middle East. So
Yeah, people
he's a
get upset.
grifter.
Yeah,
I'm
right.
not kidding. That's a real thing.
Yes,
That's
I got.
funny.
Did you
I got
see it,
tagged-
Craig?
Yes, I got tagged in
Okay.
a lot of things this weekend, and it's funny. I think I said this to somebody. You know what it was? I think it was Hypnotic. I was scrolling through my timeline, and I saw a picture of me in my tweet, and I was like, "What?" Like, it's one of those things where you see a tweet of yourself, and you're like, "What the hell's happening?" And the amount of response that, like, I don't know. It was just kind of funny to see. Let me see if I can find that real fast, because I was shocked. I'm scrolling through and I see a picture of myself. I'm like, oh, okay. Here
Silence
we
is
go.
violence.
Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Here we go. This is I don't know
We
why.
found it. Good.
Yeah. Here we go. This is going back to Hypnotic. It says genuinely. Okay, this guy over here, Jake. By the way, I have no idea who this person is. By the way, like
He
zero.
wishes it was
Apparently
Jake
a-
Gyllenhaal.
Comedian.
Okay,
says.
cool. It says genuinely impossible for me to understand how big of a loser one must be to see this tweet and think, "Oh yeah, vaguely described hatred directed at a woman. This guy has the right idea." So glad he's talking about what really matters, right? And like I said, I'll scroll to my timeline and I saw Hypnotic's response to this, and I was like, "What the fuck?" Like, I just said I'd respond to him, but the replies to his tweet says enough for me. I mean, he got ratioed.
Go to his
Yeah,
tweet thread where he shows that Gaza thing. That
right. And by the
there
way,
it is.
he went in and then he closed his mentions.
Yeah, he
I didn't
closed
even-
him down. I
He
was
didn't
going to
even say
reply.
anything.
That's really funny.
He's like,
Oh, I did
every
reply.
time.
There we go. I did get one in there.
Imagine supporting these absolute clowns. There you go. Yeah, we're now in the Animal Crossing butt plug stage. Oh my god! But yeah, like, and this someone's like, every time what? How is a video game site that has nothing related to Gaza related to being a misogynist? Hello, that account is not a video game website. It's a person forwarding a political agenda concerned with free speech journalism and not speaking up at all about actual efforts against free speech is how it's related.
Fucking video game podcast.
It's like, what the fuck? It's crazy. I don't even understand.
I like
man.
that response right there that you just went to. That he
Yeah.
doesn't talk about those things.
Right.
That would be like if I was trying to vet someone to be a friend or not, being like, have they ever searched Metal Gear Solid?
The checklist.
And if not, fuck this guy.
Oh my god! But once again, these are the type of people I don't know how these people. Like, I legitimately don't even know who this guy is.
Craig is pulling a Thanos. I don't even know who you are.
I don't even know who you are.
I don't. I would be lying if I told you I knew who this was. So I'm not trying to, like, stunt on him or anything like that. He's playing Hades 2 on YouTube right now. Well, good for him. Good for Jake.
So he's
How many
supposed to be
people are
Epic
watching?
Store as well. Epic Game Store player. Don't trust him.
He has 18 people watching him right now. So good for him. So anyways, good for him, and go crazy there, Jake. I'm sorry that I'm not talking about the issues that you feel are important. Okay. Anyways, and thus concludes Helldivers 2. What do we I don't know, overall wrap up here, Mark? What's your thoughts on this? Like, it's been a whirlwind 2 days of chaos, starting with Friday and really hitting the apex this morning.
I think it's a massive win for really just consumer advocacy attempts, and I think that it's a really good example of why having the Steam review system in place, where you can leave a review on any game and your ownership status of the game and how many hours you've played on it, in addition to your achievement data, can all be looked at there. So you can always just read a Steam review and then say, oh, does this person just hate this company and that's why they left this review? Click on it and see, oh no, they played this game for 70 hours. So they know what they're talking about. And this was a perfect example of using review bombing in a way that is actual non-violent protests that got something done. It's just like, okay, we're going to change all reviews for negative and submit for refunds, even if they're not going to get an approval. then you can make your decision. And hey, the decision they made was immediately being like, forget we ever did that. Yeah, so big win,
right,
as far as I'm concerned.
Flash, your overall thoughts on this? Is this as big a win as Mark thinks it is?
I think it is. I mean, just like Razor Fizz said, you got a huge company to pretty much get on their knees and beg for people to stop. I think it's great. And it only took like 2 days for it to happen.
I think it's important that when you look at what's happened over the last couple of days and the swift response that consumers, gamers have given, not just Arrowhead, but Sony as a whole, and how quickly the response, I mean, 2 days for a multi-global corporation to respond is actually a very quick turnaround, right? Some people say, how come they didn't do it quicker? This is a pretty quick turnaround for them to respond and be like, well, we kind of fucked up. I think this really bodes well for, I think we're going to see more of this. I think people will respond quickly on the internet when something like this happens. And I think that this is a positive sign. I really do. I think it's a positive sign for consumers, that the consumer's voice isn't obsolete. Because, Flash, as you said, I thought that Sony was going to be like, fuck off, peons. We'll deal with it.
Yeah.
But they didn't, and they listened. And I think that's a very good thing. Now, does that put Sony back in the good graces of a lot of people? I don't think so. I don't think so at all. I think that, coming off the biometric, stuff that they want to put in for banning accounts based off of the way you feel, like, come on, what are we doing? But you take the wins where you can get them. And I do think that you take the win, albeit a small win, but I think it's an important win. I do think it's an important win. Labs, your thoughts?
I agree that it is a win. I think the game is very enjoyable, much that I have not played it a whole lot, but it was fun. So I hope it does well, because it's a fun game that brings everyone together. Just have fun and kill bugs and kill robots. But we still need to hold people accountable who made these decisions, aka Sony, all these other things. And yes, it is a win, but I would say keep your guard up. So that's what I would say overall.
I will say this. When it comes to, there's a trickle-down effect, right? And we've talked about this, and we're going to talk about this even more in depth tomorrow. The community manager thing is still the thorn that's sticking out of here. And how will the community managers be held accountable for their actions, right? Everybody here has been put their feet to the fire at this point, except for the community managers. Unless, like, there needs to be a meeting, and hopefully that has happened at this point so far this morning, today. First thing Monday morning, that CEO needs to be on a conference call with those community managers saying, yo, what the fuck? Like,
yeah.
And saying
don't sass our player base.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, stop running people off.
And I think the best thing that HELLDIVERS could do is that they make some sort of skin and give it out to everyone for free. Like some type of perk for saying, we were assholes. This was a shitty situation. This is on us. I think that would be a huge thing.
We were talking about it earlier on the show. It's going to be the Steam reviews.
Is that actually like? I thought that was just a joke.
I thought, didn't the CEO tweet about it, saying like, yeah, this is going to be we're definitely going to make this a cape in game, because
they're saying like, yeah, but I'm saying for free. I don't know if that's going to be like, you have to pay for that skin or that cape.
I think they'd be stupid to charge for it. That would be a really bad look.
They make you pay for a Steam review skin for your cape. That'd be hilarious.
Well,
yeah,
and then
some type of free perk would go a long way.
I think one of the most important parts of the last 48 hours was actually, I think, Savvy's questions. I really think that Savvy's questions and asking those questions and having the CEO respond was actually very important.
Yeah. He was super cordial too. Like he wasn't sassing her like the community managers were.
Right. And going back to Savvy, like, despite this being one of the most important parts of this whole ordeal, Savvy was actually getting grief by everyone's favorite fake journalist.
Mm-hmm.
I was kidding.
Says, for the record, she had an issue with the CEO saying thank you to me for the civil questions. If you recall, her own questions towards a different CEO were met with said CEO saying they were misinterpreted. They misinterpreted him this weekend. I'm not sure. Oh, here, and we'll read the statement here. It says, don't love to see the Arrowhead CEO replying to the same woman who thinks the United Nations is making your games woke and is making Pepe Sylvia boards out of it. If more people were were full-throated talking about these chuds, maybe that would not have happened.
Well, unlike your business, which loses money, they want to make money.
Well, what's interesting is
not making any money.
If there's one person who I think would be full-throated, it would probably be Alyssa McCarthy. Just going to throw it out there, just based off of her previous history.
Well, someone had to say it.
Didn't. I'm not sure what full-throated means, and I honestly don't know what chuds are. But if you're a writer with such a limited vocabulary, where all you can do is hurl insults, I'm not really concerned about your opinion. Are you calling for harassment for me? All because I ask questions? Why would full-throated talking about, quote, these chuds stop someone for speaking about me? Doesn't sound very inclusive. And then she followed up and says, the irony is professional question asker used to mean journalist. I don't consider myself either of those things. I like conversations and oftentimes need clarification on things, right? And here we are, which Savvy nails it once again. Freaking nails it. So there we are. What a clown world, man.
She was accidentally being a better journalist than Alyssa.
Right. And it can't be. Come on. By the way, I rescinded all of my invites for Alyssa to come on this show. Someone's like, she's not going to come on your show. I was like, I rescind all invites for her to come on this show. You know, it's amazing to see kind of the state of video game. I hate to use the word journalism, like these video game blogs, because they are useless. The only reason why we leverage them is to laugh at them. Like, and it's amazing to see how many people still give credence to Kotaku, to Polygon, for just writing these trash articles with these trash people. It's amazing.
Well, a lot of these people are afraid of them because they all collude and they'll do their best to make sure you never work in the industry again, if they can. I mean, they all sit over on Reset Era and pull their bullshit all the time.
There is a great divide between video game vlogs or blogs and YouTubers, like a great divide. And it's very much, that old MCU Civil War poster where you got your betas over here, your video game bloggers, and then you have your YouTubers over here, and they're running towards each other.